How do we begin 2026? We normally hear about celebrations, vision boards, meeting goals, resolutions. But you know what? Something that I have to be really honest about when I meditate around this time of the year, I always feel a death. Before the celebration, before the hype, before all the celebratory mood, I tend actually to feel that something is dying. But the truth is, if we talk about new, there is no startings, there is no beginnings without endings. So it makes sense that before we start something new, we actually have to end certain contracts, certain relationships that are not anymore aligned. If you really want to invite the new me, the new you, there are a lot of things from the past that we really have to let go. And so every year around this time, I tend to feel this death. I see everyone celebrating. I see everyone counting, oh my God, 3, 2, 1. And the sensation that I feel is that something is dying inside. And after this process, which tends to happen around the New Year's evening, night, and the next days, only after that I feel the hype. There are a lot of people who actually say that the Christmas time and this time of the year is actually a low vibratory time. This is why, alongside with celebrations, with giftings, there is also people who tend to cling into the consumerism, into the shadow of this time. It's a polarity time. It's normal when we feel alongside with the hype a quiet sadness, a quiet sense of something is staying behind. And it's true. For a long time, I questioned myself about that. And to be honest, I think it really makes sense. It can't be a real beginning without an ending. It can't exist anew without something that needs to die. And so this time is not about celebration, but is about a transition to a new identity, a transition to a new cycle of life. It's the cycle of death and rebirth. And normally when it comes to New Year, if you are this person who tends to think about new goals, new identities, all the new dreams, alongside with that, there is also a list of everything that you haven't made until the end. I tend to look into the past year, 1 year ago at the same time, and my dreams, my goals, my achievements, and everything that I have made it, and everything that I haven't gone through the end. What hasn't worked? What has hurted me? There was a time of the year, this year, it was painful for me. Something had happened that completely crashed my nervous system and consequently my body. So this time of the year, I tend to be reminded of all that needs to be processed emotionally, that hasn't been processed until the end. The emotions, all the feelings, all the heartbreaks, the rest of these karmic endings that haven't been fully integrated yet. So, in this last week, everything tends to come to the surface, because when you are calling this new big version, you need to look at what hasn't worked, at what you need to leave behind. When we say that's new me, we have to also look at what I'm not bringing in 2026. And the only way to not bring patterns and emotions, unresolved issues and wounds, it's to feel them before we take the step forward. To feel, to process, to let go before we enter into the new year. And so after a decade of questioning myself why I feel this way in the last week, everything came together, everything now makes sense. And this is why personal development is something that we should be doing, not seasonally, but every single day. Because the more we have the tools to process and integrate as we walk through life every single day, we don't arrive in the end of the year with the sensation that, okay, there is still a bag to process. There is something I still carry on. And unfortunately, most people still operate in the sense of, oh, I'm just going to do that when I need it. But the truth is, when we fall from the cliff, the only thing we wished is, I wish we have done this earlier. I wish I have not done this mistake. I wish I would have listened to my body before I fell from the cliff, before the universe took from me all my mats, before I collapsed. Failures, collapses are important because they are massive events that massively oblige us to shift something. But ideally, we should be listening to our bodies before the collapse starts, before we fall, before we destroy everything, before we go bankrupt, before the businesses start to crash, before relationships enter in a no returning point, which means those kind of relationships that end and they cannot even see each other's faces. Personal development makes us a better person, but also helps us to live life in a more balanced and harmonious way. I naturally start processing what I haven't been processing through the year. Everything that I said, I don't have time now, I have to rush now. Because sometimes we have, kids, businesses, and sometimes we don't have the luxury to, okay, I'm going to process right now. And we postpone and we postpone, we say it tomorrow. But sooner or later, we have to do it. Because we can't step in the new year with the baggage of the last year, with the baggage of 2024, with the baggage of 2023. And so it came the disappointments of people that were family for me, that disappointed me profoundly. People I thought that would never leave, left me in the most vulnerable place. Truths, all the truths that I avoided to see, because I just want life keep moving. I faced my life being stagnant. Because if you are this person who your karma is to be in full integrity in this lifetime, if your karma, if your destiny is to be a person who has to be living in full truth, then every time you think of, I'm going to process tomorrow, I'm going to leave it to do it tomorrow or next month, your life gets stagnant immediately. And so as the year closes, you become more aware. As the year closes, you are forced to see what you didn't want to see before along the year. Maybe a relationship or a discussion you didn't want to process in February. Maybe something you needed still to cry one more time in August. Sometimes you have gone to the process until 90%, but it was still missing this 10%. And the new year that is coming, this is the year of the horse, the year of action, the last year that the universe is gonna be tolerant to those who still lying to themselves. Everything will come to the surface. Because in 2027, the frequency of this world, the frequency of the collective will change, and many will see big differences. So this year is the year to do massive personal development. We want to make sure that we don't carry the same patterns that we have been going until now. So emotions surface. What you didn't resolve comes knocking at your door, and it's time to feel. So most of you have been having so many talks and listening to podcasts, personal development. Let's talk about gratitude meditations, visualizations, highlights, talk about achievements, do vision boards, do collages, write in your new notebook. But what about what is truly dying? What about identities that no longer fit? Who do you really want to become and who you no longer are? What are the relationships that already ended and you are still clinging on? What are the habits, the roles that you internally know that are making you stagnant, that you are still attached to? What do you know that is not working? What area of your life is stuck that you have to look at? And so this year has, when I write my goals, I write this other list, the list of what I no longer want to be, the patterns I no longer want to feed and attract. What do I have to do to stop them? How much more tears I promise to cry to let it go? This list tends to be heavier than the goals, and sometimes it's even bigger than our goals. And letting go requires more honesty than actually dreaming. There is this sentence I repeat a lot in my programs. It's easier to swallow lies than face truths. So this is a time of the year that I feel there is more polarity. Even from dreaming, the part of us that dreams so far away, and the part of us that lies so deeply to not feel what's present. Most of these hype celebrations that I see are masks, exaggerated masks to diffuse, to distract people from what they need to feel, what is dying, and they just want to escape the feeling. Oh my God, the old is going. It's a new identity. Something is really cooking inside. I cannot feel this anymore. Okay, let's throw a super huge party and I will not think about this anymore. When people get over drunk, what do you think they are doing? trying to forget problems, trying to escape and moving away from the pain. And this is a time of the year where we see people most consuming and buying to this party mood. I truly believe that many people enter into this FOMO and wanting to celebrate the whole week because deep inside they want to escape what is coming to the surface, what is dying inside that is so deep that the only way is to create the polarity in the outside. And this is the polarity of pain and pleasure, where there is celebration everywhere. Deep inside, there is grief. Where there is pleasure, there is pain. Where there is excitement, there is fatigue. And I have come to understand that polarity is not a problem. It's the way we are designed to live. Where there is light, there is darkness. A person with a huge success will also attract a lot of haters as well, fans and haters. We want to be seen, we want to be stars, we want to be in Hollywood. But where we will attract a lot of fans, we will attract a lot of haters as well. The more seen we are, the more adored, and the more judged and criticized. Polarity is everywhere. There are people, as I grow, that are becoming soulmate clients, that are being so inspired by the work I'm doing, by the business I'm creating. At the same time, there are people who cannot even look at me and see the magnetism that I'm carrying, that I'm expanding. And so for that, they will criticize, they will throw rumors and completely distort my work or what I do. And so when we have a mission, when we want to do something so big, we need to understand that we need to have a nervous system prepared to hold the polarity of life. Pain and pleasure go because something is closing and something else is trying to be born and be expanded. And birth doesn't happen instantly. There is gestation, there is silence, there is confusion, there is fruition. There are moments of total disorientation and moments of total celebration. And so this is the time of the year that I ask, why I don't feel so motivated around this time? This is also a time that I feel that my creative force goes very inwards. I have been working so much this week, but not in outwards. Has been about writing a lot, has been about designing, all the creative ways that are more inwards, that are not being expanded into the world in sense that I'm going to social media showing my face, that I'm not doing posts with huge insights, that I'm reserving my creativity for me. Has been me and all these insights are being expanded in this new program for this new year. Has been a lot behind the scenes. But why is coming this lack of motivation to show up in social media? Because part of my work is my face, is my voice, is the way I show up in social media, in my programs, in my classes. And I noticed myself having a break recently, also because we have been through a very intense year and there is so much to integrate for me, for my clients, and it's good to have a break. But at the same time, I feel there is a silence inside. There is a need for stillness. There is a need for not doing anything. And from time to time, this season comes. And why I feel that? What is lack of motivation? I got this answer today. And this is why I created this podcast. Motivation comes from within, comes from who you are. Motivation is not about discipline, it's about inspiration. And is deeply tied to who you are. So what happens is when you are going through a death, motivation disappears. Why? Because your identity is shifting. If motivation is inspiration and is tied to your identity and your identity is shifting, there is a disruption in the way you are expressing yourself. Because something is pulling you backwards. Something feels not quite the moment, not quite the right time, not quite truth, not quite appropriate. Because if you speak from truth, if you are inspired, for me, I'm deeply inspired when I'm connected to myself so deeply. When I'm connected to my body, when life is flowing through my whole body and my cells. But when I'm going through identity shift, when I'm maturing, the way I was speaking before makes no sense anymore. But at the same time, the new version that is maturing is also not quite installed in my system, is still loading. The new software is still loading in the machine. The new upgrade is still taking place. The apps are still being downloaded. So it's not fully clear who is this new identity. But at the same time, I know at who I was before, I'm not anymore. And this is why also is important when you have an idea, when you want to do something, don't wait. Do it. Because who you can be in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months can be a different person. But what you were going through at that exact time is useful and can be life-changing for someone in the world. There are things that I have shared 2 months ago in my academy, in the intensive program I gave in November. It was so intensive. It was every day. It was beautiful. And I thanks God that I listened to my intuition and I did it in November, because if I would have postponed to now, I wouldn't have done what I did in November. I had such a hype. I had such an amazing time. I was flowing of inspiration. It was life-changing for my clients. It was probably the most life-changing month of best results. And the program that gave me more pleasure was November. We keep going. We keep doing amazing. But I'm going through such an identity shift that it wouldn't be possible, such intensity like in November. So when you want to feel you have to do something, the mantra of success Do it now. Because, for example, now that I'm going more offline, that we are all integrating, me and my clients, people are still entering in my programs and they are catching with all the amazing pre-recorded content that I have done before. And so even if I'm going through my that and to my identity shifts and to my upgrades and to the internal processes to come back even stronger with even more inspiration, with even more content, because normally every time I go through these processes, when I come back, when they end, when they are installed in the machine, I explode with all the content and it goes life-changing for everyone that is in my field. So life is still working for me when I allow myself to go through these depths, through these moments of stillness, through these moments of inward. That is exactly when I replenish, when I feel, when I process. There are a lot of things that I needed to process in November that I postponed because I committed to do that work, that offering every single day. So I postponed some emotions I needed to process that just came right now. And even right now, my business doesn't go down because the energy is still there, is still working for me. And this is what made me be able to go inwards in this time of the year and process even deeper. And when all upgrades are finished, what I will bring this month and the next month is another layer of depth. For those who know how is my programs, even if I restart a new season, it's never the same. There is not even one single class that is the same. I leave the recordings of the past years because every year I do different, and every year there is a new medicine. And all the archetypes, all these energetic shifts I go through are life-changing for a target of people that I attract for that time. And so I see this period as a blessing because it's how we mature. It's how we go deep. What is to mature? Is to grow, is to expand, it's to go deeper, more in depth, have a more in depth perception of reality in all levels. And so, when this identity starts dissolving, the energy that was attached to this identity also starts to disappear. And somehow you start to feel you cannot communicate the same way. You are like, oh my God, these videos I used to do, I don't want to do them anymore. This kind of carousels, this kind of posts, this way of communicate, this way of dressing even is not anymore what I want. And this is how you want to reframe it. Many people tend to think this is a depression or a down, but reframe it. This is a process of maturation. You are maturing. And before the new, there is an end. And no one or very few are speaking about this. Before a beginning, there is an ending. And this is uncomfortable. And there is nothing wrong with that. We are made to touch discomfort from time to time. That's how we grow, that's how we expand. And this is a time when you feel that the old version doesn't work anymore, but at the same time, the new version isn't fully formed. In this time, stay in this silence. Trust that you have done so much and people find you anyway. because they know that even being in your field while you do that, it's profoundly inspiring. The true leader is the one who feels and goes deep into every process of life. And actually is in these moments that I learn the most, that I have the deepest insights. And most of my content comes from the deep breakthroughs that I have during this time. And it's not about forcing the output or coming out of it. It's not about rushing. It's about staying there with the highest integrity possible.